morning. Welcome to day 11 at Quantum's Liberty. Hope this day is finding you well. Morning, birdies. Today, I am doing day 11 of the Quantum's Liberty DeStress series. And today, we have a different situation. And that is that we're going to be doing tapping along with Jennifer, who has a history of trauma from abuse as a child. And so this is an interesting one because Jennifer is 32, and she works in policy making. Thank you. And so what we're going to tap on is something that I read about yesterday or the day before. And so Jennifer and I were talking about it. And so we're going to be tapping on being a sexual assault survivor. And we're going to be tapping on, in particular, an article from the Washington Post. We're just going to tap on it. So this could be, make sure that if you have a professional to talk with, that you are talking with that professional, and that that you don't do this unless you feel that you can tolerate tapping on being a sexual assault survivor. So we're going to tap to DeStress, and this is for Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is her name. And she's very helpful to all of us for climate change agenda, which is extremely important. And we would like to wish anyone who was involved in having a lot of emotion around the Capitol riots, that it was scary, that you could try tapping along, or just not tap at all. And this will be for what people call AOC. Lady Gaga could do it too, and but make sure you have your professional to talk with. And because we're going to read through this. So if you don't want to read through, if you don't want to hear about it, just turn this off right now. All right, so we're going to tap on the emotions involved. So as always, we tap on the trauma, and what happens is when we're tapping on this karate chop point, then what's happening is that even though the images are in the brain, that the neurons that are getting sent to the amygdala are slowed down, so that even though the images are coming in, the neuronal firing is slowed down to the amygdala so that the oxygen is not sent to the arms and legs to run from danger, but instead it stays in the prefrontal cortex where you can think about the next best thing to do. So keep on tapping right on this karate chop point here. This is a psychological reversal point. It's 5,000-year-old meridian endpoints, and this will help to slow down the firing. Scientists proved it with MRIs and also with biomarkers. So what the biomarkers show, that if you do the tapping for 10 minutes, once or twice a day with the tapping meditation, you will lower your cortisol levels 37% in 1 week. You also raise your immunoglobulin levels 113% in 1 week of the tapping meditation. So it's highly recommended to do that to reduce your cortisol levels so that you can also think about the next best thing to do. The other remarkable thing, and this is really important for our policymakers, for Jennifer and for Alexandria, is that the oxygen not only stays in the prefrontal cortex, but also the amygdala will constrict the vessels, the capillaries in the prefrontal cortex by 70%. So when you're doing the tapping, it not only increases the amount of oxygen that is available for the brain to use to think about the next best thing to do. But it also keeps those capillaries dilated, so it stops that 70% constriction. So we want to do that to lower the cortisol levels. 37% in 1 week is very nice. The other thing it does is it will increase your dopamine, which is your reward go get 'em hormone, so you can think about the next best thing to do. Like we have a pandemic going on, and we have climate crisis to address now, so we need you guys thinking. All right, and thank you so much for going back with Mike Pence too. Let's thank him for going back in and doing the count and sticking to what he thought was the right thing to do. And so we do need to say that violence is, you know, the perpetrators have to be named. That's what this article is about. So we're going to talk, we're going to go through this. First, we're going to address the problem like we do with tapping. We say that even though I feel blah, 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 and then you put the problem in a box because there was this riot and it was very, very dangerous and my life felt threatened. And then you say at the end, I deeply accept myself. And that's a very powerful thing to say because you are accepting yourself with these feelings in place. And when you can accept yourself and love yourself with everything that is inside of your heart and in your system energetically, right, and biologically, all these biomarkers get shifted. There's also 7 neurotransmitters and hormones that do get shifted, and this is science-based. And so I'll make sure I put those references in the description at the end of the YouTube. So here we go. Even though, and you repeat after me, we're going to do the tapping. Even though I had this terror because I felt like I was going to be assaulted, and it was a near-death experience, I accept myself exactly as I am. Even though I thought everything was over, I'm reading from her words. Because of the danger involved, and I was very scared, I accept myself and I love myself exactly as I am. Do the tapping into doing the statements right afterwards. Even though I thought everything was over, and that was the moment when everything was over, and I was very scared, I deeply and completely accept myself exactly as I am. Good stating, Jennifer. All right, so now we're going to do the tapping while I read. That's right on the inside of the eyebrow, outside of the eyebrow, under the eye, under the nose, on the line to chin point. Collarbone is follow these 2 bones right here. Go down an inch and out an inch and use all 5 fingers. You can do one side or the other side. It doesn't matter. It's a forgiving process. And then under the arm is about 1 hand length down. Like for women, it's the broad line and the top of the head. Okay, so here we go. Washington Post, February 2. Just follow along and keep on tapping. February 2, 2021. Ocasio-Cortez reveals she's a sexual assault survivor. Recounts trauma of Capitol riot. I thought everything was over. As rioters threatened to breach the Capitol on January 6, a staffer rushed into Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's office and told her to hide. Soon after she ran into her bathroom, she heard a thunderous banging noise outside. "Where is she? Where is she?" someone yelled. Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat, New York, said in an Instagram live chat on Monday night, "And this was the moment where I thought everything was over. The person thumping on the doors turned out to be a police officer trying to move her to a secure location," Ocasio-Cortez said. "But the harrowing moment was just the first of many as a mob of Trump supporters breached the Capitol." With around 150,000 viewers watching live, Ocasio-Cortez for the first time recounted in detail what she had earlier described as a near-death experience during the attempted insurrection. Restating, the New York Democrat also revealed during the 90-minute discussion that she is a survivor of sexual assault. She compared lawmakers like Republican Senator Ted Cruz, Texas, and Josh Hawley, Missouri, whom she accused of trying to play down the seriousness of the riot, to abusers who attempt to silence and undermine victims. These folks who tell us to move on, that it's not a big deal, that we should forget what happened, or even telling us to apologize. These are the same tactics of abusers. And I'm a survivor of sexual assault, she said. Ocasio-Cortez added, "I haven't told many people that in my life. But when we go through trauma compounds on each other." Representatives for Cruz and Hawley did not immediately respond to a request for comment late Monday. Ocasio-Cortez said demanding accountability for the Capitol riot wasn't about politics. "This is at a point where it's not about a difference of political opinion," Ocasio-Cortez said. "This is about just basic humanity." Ocasio-Cortez's comments on Monday came almost 3 weeks after she said she didn't feel safe going to an extraction point with Republican lawmakers and feared GOP colleagues would lead rioters to her. Federal prosecutors have charged one alleged Capitol rioter with threatening in a tweet to assassinate AOC. About a week before the Capitol riot, Ocasio-Cortez said she began receiving text messages from members of Congress warning her that she needed to make plans to ensure her safety, and that in particular I needed to be careful about the 6th, she said in her Instagram live chat on Monday. There's a rainbow here. During the next few days, Ocasio-Cortez said she felt increasingly unsafe. On January 4, after driving to the Capitol for a vote, she returned to find Trump supporters standing behind her car, heckling her. The following day, the crowds outside the Capitol grew. "It felt actively volatile and dangerous," she said. Capitol Police leadership assured Ocasio-Cortez and her colleagues They were prepared, but declined to give details for fear the security plans could be leaked, she said. But the threats came thundering down on January 6 as a pro-Trump mob stormed the Capitol in an attempt to prevent Congress from certifying President Biden's victory. Ocasio-Cortez found herself hiding in her office's bathroom. She said, staying quiet and reflecting on the possibility of being killed. I really just felt like if this is the plan for me, then people will be able to take it from here, she said, wiping away tears in the Instagram video. I had fulfilled my purpose. The Capitol Police officer did not announce himself as he banged on doors and yelled out for her, she said. And when she emerged from her hiding spot, she said the police officer greeted her and one of her staffers with a tremendous amount of anger and hostility. We couldn't even tell or read if this was a good situation or a bad situation. She said, adding, it didn't feel okay. The officer instructed her and her staffer to go to a different building, which Ocasio-Cortez would not identify in the live stream. But once they arrived at the building, they realized the officer never told them where to go. As they ran through hallways and knocked on office doors, Ocasio-Cortez said she could hear yells outside the building growing louder as rioters threatened to break inside. I hear the hinges creaking and cracking, she said. Keep repeating. Keep tapping. She soon saw Representative Katie Porter, Democrat, California, walking into her office and asked if they could join her. Ocasio-Cortez started roaming the office and opening doors as staffers barricaded the front door with furniture. I asked, can I help you? What are you looking for? And she said, I'm looking for where I'm going to hide, Porter told MSNBC's Lawrence O'Donnell on Monday night. I said, well, don't worry. I'm a mom. I'm calm. And she said, I just hope I get to be a mom. The New York lawmaker shut off the lights, closed the blinds, and rummaged under staffer's desk, trying to find a gym bag that might have sneakers or a change of clothes. She told Porter that her dress and heels were not conducive for running or blending in with a crowd or even jumping out a window to escape. I'm like at a 10 anxiety because I probably experienced 2 times today that I already thought I was going to die, Ocasio-Cortez said of how she felt at the moment. The group was in Porter's office for about 5 hours, Ocasio-Cortez said, during which they learned police had found 2 bombs nearby outside the offices of the Republican and Democratic National Committees, and then discussed what they would do if one went off in their building. It was only after the House resumed the vote later that same day to certify the election that Ocasio-Cortez said she processed what had happened. Sitting for dinner with Porter and Representative Ayanna Pressley, Democrat, Massachusetts, in Presley's office, Ocasio-Cortez recounted her experience. Representative Pressley told me right away, what you experienced was traumatizing, and you need to take care of yourself, Ocasio-Cortez said. It was like having her as a friend and sister hear what I was saying and tell me that. Mentally, it forced me to pump my brakes. Telling her story, which she added, was just one of 435 stories among House members from that day. Has been healing, she said. But in the case of the events at the Capitol, it is not enough, the Democrat said. She argued there needs to be accountability for Republicans in Congress who made false claims of widespread fraud in the 2020 election and who have not condemned the events or apologized for their alleged role in inciting the attempted insurrection. The accountability is not about revenge, Ocasio-Cortez said. It's about creating safety. And we are not safe with people who hold positions of power, who are willing to endanger the lives of others if they think it will score them a political point. Even though I feel this trauma from this experience, and I know perpetrators have to be named, I deeply and completely love and accept myself exactly as I am. I am me with this trauma. I am me without this trauma. I can name the perpetrators safely and have them apologize for their alleged role or condemn the events inciting the attempted insurrection. I deeply and completely love and accept myself exactly as I am with all these emotions inside of me. I trust myself to have my own back. That's right, birdies. Love you all. Thanks, Jennifer.